You, at first, will suck. Period. You just have to get to a point where your hand falls into the position and then you can do it. Hello, I am going to be throwing some things. I've never used a bat before. This is my first time using a pottery bat, and basically it is a little disc that slips onto your wheel top. It has like these little holes that slip onto these bolts that stick out, as you can see here. And then when you're done throwing your pot, instead of completely cleaning it and changing it, you just pull this off, put a new one in, and it'll dry on this little piece of, it almost feels like MDF or something like that. So I threw this little cutie last night. I'm trying to learn how to do more like rounded, cute little, not cauldron, but sort of that like vibe of shape. So I'm trying to learn that, and it is a pretty good pot. I feel like I did a really good job at making it relatively thin. And then at the same time, I'm also trying to learn how to use pottery ribs, which are essentially like little piece of plastic. This one's all disgusting from last night, but it's a little piece of plastic, and you like put it on the outside of your pot and it shapes the outside. So it gives this really cute little mug vibe. So the type of clay that I am using is called C-Mix 6. I got this from Seattle Pottery Supply. This is just the one that we use in my pottery class that I've been taking for the last 4 weeks. And so this is what I know how to use. This is what I'm going to use. I would love to eventually start throwing with like terracotta or red clays. Interested to see if it's any harder or easier throwing on a bat. It seems like it would be harder, only because you have like these holes in the actual material, and that seems like clay and water and everything's going to get caught in there, and that's going to be frustrating. So to show the difference and how much better I've gotten since the beginning, this is one of the first things that I made, and as you can see, the bottom caved in because it's way too thin here, and you can just see how the outside looks. It's really uneven. The top is really uneven. The walls are really uneven. So this was my first week, or this might have been my second week actually. So this is another one that I threw. This one is a cylinder, and this one's actually quite nice. And then this one, they're much thinner, they're much better. And so, as you can see, I'm definitely improving. It's just a lot of practice. Pottery seems, if you just watch it, like it is almost intuitive. You're like, oh, I can do that. And then you sit down to do it, and you're like, no, I can't. It's not something you just pick up and are good at. Beginner's luck might be a thing for some people, but I really do believe not really. It's one of those things that is so much more practice and technique based than it is talent or gift. I believe that it's really, I mean, gifts and talent could certainly play a part, but I don't know how much more they play a part than just continuing to practice. Wonder how different this is going to be from throwing on a regular wheel. That is pretty decent. And the interesting thing about pottery is you want to move slow. You want to go like slow and steady, and when you remove your hand, you also want to remove your hand slow, because that's what keeps it in a perfect circle. You don't want to like rip your hands off. You want it to stay in that form. So wobbly. That's part of throwing though. Sometimes you do like a perfectly centered, perfectly non-wobbly pot, and then the next one, total wobbly piece of crap. But even wobbly, it looks wobbly when it's on the wheel, and then you take it off and you're like, oh, it looks totally fine. I made this mug. So the other day I made this shape and I thought it was so cute, and then I finally added a handle and look, it worked. It didn't crack when I added the handle, which can be a problem, but so, it's not done yet. It hasn't gone through the bisque fire or anything like that, but I still need to glaze it. Apparently you can glaze these with underglaze when they are considered greenware. This is greenware, so it is not fired. This is just raw clay that has dried to, like, they call it bone dry. And all I need to do then is I can apparently paint this with underglaze, which I have a bunch of different underglazes here. And you can paint it with these and then fire it for its first bisque fire. And then when you run it under water, you can see what it's gonna look like. But I'm very proud. I think it's just the cutest. So I want to make a bunch of these. I need to make this shape again. I'm very happy with this shape of mug. I feel like it's so darling. Light in a different setup. You can see my messy background here. I don't know how much you can see. This is where art gets made, and sometimes art gets messy. Editing Kristi here. I did not realize how bad this setup is. So in an upcoming video, you and me, we're gonna make a new pottery background, and it's gonna be fun. We'll do a full video making a full, like, vibey pottery background setup, because this is not it. It's another day. I wanted to finish out this video in a way that was actually an ending. Yes, I'm sick again. I'm literally sick again. We've been sick off and on, and I mean off meaning like maybe there's been a collective 7 days where I wasn't sick since Christmas. So it's been rough. But today what I'm gonna do, I need to trim. I trimmed a couple of these already, but I need to trim the bottom of these pots. I made these the other day, and I need to attach handles because all of these are gonna be mugs. So I'll show you some that I made. This one we already attached a handle to. Zach wanted me to make like a pitcher, so I made this little cutie, and it's kind of adorable. I like it. It's a very odd shape, but I feel like it'll work, won't it? It's so cute. So I've got to trim the bottoms of 6 different pots, and so I'm just gonna get trimming and we can chat while I do it. So you need to, before trimming, you gotta wait till things get to a leather hard stage. Leather hard is basically, like, you can just tell when it is. These ones are slightly soft still, but they're fine. I can trim them up and get them at least to a better spot. Before I attach handles, you have to trim them. Otherwise, how are they gonna spin and trim when they have a handle attached? You know, you gotta trim them first. I don't have one of those cool little things that you put on your wheel where it holds your piece in place with like those little arms. You know what I'm talking about? They like come, it's almost like a little thing. It's like a bat that you put on the top, and then these little pieces connect to it, and then you can trim it. I actually just use a couple of pieces of clay. That keeps it on. So really when you trim, you're just trying to take down the high spots and make the bottom evened out. Take the little chunky foot off. You can totally trim a new shape into the bottom if you wanted it to be like more rounded. I'll do that a little bit. put up my video the other day talking about my YouTube channel, and man, the response has been interesting. I find the response hilarious because I was like, people really only click on negative videos, and people are like, no, we don't. I'm like, you clicked on this one. Didn't ya? I want to say thank you for everybody that commented saying, like, do what you love and we'll be here. That is what I should plan to do. This is hopefully my first week of uploading Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's kind of the goal, to get back into the swing of things, talking to you guys, get back into the habit of posting frequently and things that I love and that I'm excited about. This is literally what I love and been excited about. I could tell you that I could do pottery from the second I wake up to the second I go to sleep. It's what I go to sleep thinking about, and it's what I wake up thinking about. I'm literally obsessed with it. I think it is just my favorite thing I've ever done. Painting and pottery are like it for me. So let's see, it's a little chunky, but it's because I think the clay is still a little bit too wet. That's fine. Let's see. Perfect. So now 5 more. But that turned out really cute. I feel like that's absolutely adorable, and it's going to be just like a little squatty mug. I mean, it's not the perfect shape for a mug, but it could be really cute if I do like a little cute roundy handle with it. We'll do this guy. This guy will not be a mug. I don't know what I'm going to do with him, but maybe like a little planter or something. I don't know. This one's a little wet still. That's okay. I can do it. Man, I swear, we have not stopped being sick this entire month. Every single time that we improve from a sickness, I've never had this happen in my life, but also I've never been a mom before, and I've heard from every mom ever that kids are just like perpetually sick like this. And it's great, let me tell you. I love it. I love being sick constantly. Are you guys music listeners, YouTube listeners, or podcast listeners when you do like a craft? I would say I alternate between podcast and music. Sometimes I just feel like vibing to music, but I also feel like, I don't know, there's something that my brain can listen extra well when I'm doing art to like a podcast. So I find that I do that as well. I want to know, which one do you guys listen to? Are you more like podcasty? I feel like that is what everyone does nowadays. I feel like more than music, but maybe I'm wrong. So that one turned out okay. It's way too wet to be trimming, but I need to get handles attached because I want to throw more pots, but I don't want to get up ahead of myself because the last couple pots that I made, I let get too dry before I attached the handles, and the handles cracked. So you gotta be, you know, careful. Okay, I think I got one more. This shape I was so proud of. You would think like maybe the bubbly shapes I'd be more proud of, but like there's something about being able to pull like a cylinder that's almost the hardest for me, because it's almost like, okay, the only way I can liken it is to like, and this may not resonate with anybody, but there's a reason that walls are textured and that people spray texture on walls, and it's because texture hides imperfection, and flat drywall is much more of a skill than is spraying texture. So there's a reason it's, I don't know, like there's something to be said about like the flatness and straightness of doing this kind of mug is, I would say, is more difficult for sure. It's just more of a technique and skill, I feel like. gonna finish the bottom of this one a little differently. I'm beveling the edge of it in so it sits, oh shit. So it sits on like a little lip. That fucking hoe ass bitch ass hoe. It's because this isn't quite leather hard enough yet, but I just can't sit around and wait for you. I gotta have patience with pottery, and you know what? That is not my strong suit, I'll tell you right now. It's not my strong suit. Come on. I saw a trick online that showed if your top gets messed up like mine just did, because it's like, it like isn't purple circle, perfectly circular, you can take like a terracotta pot and stick it on the inside and it'll recircle it. I have this mug sitting right here, so I'll use that. Just to kind of reform that circle. And then it's better. I can't trim the bottom of this one either because how am I supposed to do that? I need to, but like how am I gonna do that? I'd have to put this on top of like some kind of cone situation to be able to trim this, because there's no way I can set it on this edge because this is all curvy. So they have this thing that you can literally like, I think this is what people do. Let me try it. I'll try it. What's the worst that could happen? Just ruin all the hard work I did? Yeah, that is the worst that could happen. To be fair, to be clear, that is absolutely the worst that could happen. All right, let's see here. You like create a little cone for it to sit on top of, essentially, sort of. Not quite. Much better than that, but we're gonna go really slow on this one. Oh, because of that. Because that is not, this is stressful, bro. This is not the way this should be done. But you know what? Sometimes you gotta make it work. And I do not know how to trim this any other way. It worked. Got the bottom of that trimmed up enough that I'm happy with that. And so now we can attach handles to everything. And I also need to go through and like fix up the handles of these guys, because I had, like I said, I had some crackage, and I watched a couple of videos last night on what to do when you have that, and they're like, just don't worry about it as much, and like just kind of smooth out, kind of push that clay back into the cracks. And I don't know, I've never dealt with that before, so we'll see. But it's just, all of them said to do that. Not a single one was like, they're ruined, you're screwed. All of them were like, no, just kind of buff it down back into the cracks, buff over it. You can add some slip over the top of it, dry it out slowly. Maybe you can add some vinegar sometimes, because vinegar can work to help connect the clay back together. Look how cute. It turned out really cute. I'm really pleased with that. Apparently there's quite a bit of shrinkage when you fire, so this is gonna be really tiny, but that's all right. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, like if you've ever wanted to get into pottery and you're like, you know, I just don't really know, I might not be good, the answer is you won't. You will not be good, but you will get there if you keep practicing. I wanted to quit on my second week. After my second week, I was like, I suck at this and I'm not gonna be good. And I'm really glad I kept going, because there is some encouragement to be had in what I'm about to tell you. You, at first, will suck. Period. You will suck. It's one of those things that, like I said before, is not just intuitive. It's very difficult to do right away. But when you learn how to play the guitar, it's the same way. You literally cannot make a C chord. I don't know about you guys, or if you've ever played guitar and you try to make a C chord, it is so hard because your fingers are just, they don't want to fall into that position. It's so awkward. I remember when I was like, I think I was in 8th grade, and I remember and I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. I'm not gonna be able to do it. And one day my fingers just slipped into the C chord and I could never not do it again. It's like riding a bike. You get to a point where your body just figures it out where the handle is connected. So this one, I'm gonna really have to, that's the thing. It's just practice. It's practice. It's practice. It's practice. You just have to get to a point where your hand falls into the position and then you can do it. And it's the same with pottery. When you first do it, you're like, I'm never going to be able to do this. Your fingers can't feel it. They can't like slip into the position. It feels like I'm never gonna get this. And then it just happens. You can, there will be a time where you go to pull up your walls and you're like, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like. And then you'll never not be able to do it again. I promise you, for the first like 3 weeks, I was like, I am literally, I suck. This is so hard. And then you just are like, oh, I can do it. And then you can just do it from there. And then all the ones that you would have never thought you'd be able to make a pot like that, you'll be able to make the pot. You'll be able to do things you didn't realize that you could do because it's just practice. And it's like that with anything. The more you sing, the better you'll be. The more you throw pots, the better you'll be. So don't get discouraged if you're just starting pottery and you're not good. Yeah, no shit. You're not good. It's that hard. It's really hard, and I just want to validate that it is actually that hard, but once you get it, you got it. I should be wearing a desk mask right now, but I don't have one. And this is what I saw the guy do online. He was like, you just kind of push the clay back into the spots. You kind of grind it down and push it into those spots, and then it'll fire in. So that's what he looked like a professional potter, so I'm gonna take his word for it. I don't know who the guy was. He was just somebody on YouTube, so he could totally be steering me in the wrong direction, but I choose to believe that that guy knows what he's talking about more than me, who's been doing this for like 4 weeks. He said that these little hairline cracks in the handle connection are really common because the clay body, this part, dries out faster than the handle, or vice versa. The handle dries faster than the body. And when they dry at different speeds, that's when you get cracking. So I get a lot of questions. Every time I show these on Instagram, I get a lot of questions from people saying, are you gonna sell these? Yes, that's absolutely the plan for all of these. These are not just for me, for fun. I'm trying to learn, get better, learn, get better, learn, get better, and I eventually want to sell pottery like full time. That's what I want to do. So I think I will absolutely be able to get to that point where I feel comfortable doing it. I'm trying to make a lot right now, and then I'm gonna paint them all, glaze them all, and do like a drop. I think that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do like a drop of like, hey, Wednesday at 8 a.m. or, you know, whenever. I'll let you guys know when the pottery sale will go up, and then I'll have a website and I'll do like a Shopify. I've never done any of this before, but I think that's how I'm gonna do it. And then you guys can have dibs if you're interested. And if not, hey, that's fine too. I follow a lot of different potters. It's hard to know like pricing and stuff like that. I follow some people who are like charge very shockingly low prices. Like I see them charging $30 for something that you know took them such a long time. And then I follow another potter on Instagram. She charges $850 for a mug. And you know, it's just so, granted hers are more sculptural, but I mean, people buy them. So I will not be charging $800 for these because who the heck am I? But gotta figure out pricing and stuff like that. I don't really know what it's gonna be right now. I'm looking into all of that. But heck, that's stinking cute, ain't it? And these dry and fire white. So right now the clay is still wet on this one, but they get completely white. So I can put just a clear glaze on these and have them be like a white color, or I can paint them like pink, or I can do flowers or mushrooms, or the world is my oyster. Now that all the trimming is done and the handles are figured out, I think that's it for today's video. And then I'm gonna see you guys soon at my next video. So I'm gonna go out and take you guys along with me to do some of my outside chores. I'm gonna go feed my chickens and my quail, water the greenhouse and stuff. I'm gonna be needing to start seeds soon because my garden, it's coming up. It's February right now. Last year I started seeds way too early. I started them in January and they were so leggy by the time I put them out. So this year I want to start them in probably realistically end of February, early March, so that I can get a good head start 6 to 8 weeks ahead of the frost, and then we can get planting. I'm so excited to do a garden this year. I really want to focus. I don't really know exactly what I want to focus on, but maybe we'll do a video in the next couple of days here coming up and doing a garden plan together. I think that would be really fun. We can sit down and plot map out the garden and see what we want to do. We planted, I don't know, 300 or 400 garlic bulbs in the fall. So we're gonna have a ton of garlic and it's great. We did that last year and we're still using our garlic. We have so much and it was wonderful. Like if you can grow garlic, we're gonna do a whole garlic growing video because you guys, growing your own garlic is life-changing. So we can talk about that together. I'll show you guys our garlic patches and go outside and show you guys all of that. It's still snowy outside right now. So, all right, well, that's it for today's video. And thank you guys for hanging out with me and just having fun doing pottery and coming along with me for all these different things that we're about to start doing. Cause I'm going to bring you along in my life. Like we can go shopping together. We can cook meals together. We can garden together and do art. Cause this is all I want to do all day, every day. And that's all I'm gonna do. So, all right, well, thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you at my next video.